All right, guys, this should be interesting. This is from Wrestling Flashbacks channel. It's top 10 wrestlers secretly communicating in the ring. I don't know how secret this is, but let's see. Let's take a look at what they came up with. Maybe it's just more subtly
between wrestlers
communicating.
in the ring is a vital component of a match. Even if a match has been well planned out, once it's underway, the wrestlers will still need to communicate back and forth. Most of this we don't hear, but there is plenty we do pick up on. And if you watch Botchamania, then you know that everyone talks too much.
That's the thing too. You have to be careful of the camera positioning. That's one good thing about the indies. There's no cameras. You didn't have to worry. As long as you were not within earshot of the crowd, chat away.
But some wrestlers are louder than others. So join us today as we'll look at 10 notable wrestlers known for communicating in the ring.
Chokeslam, yes! Chokeslam!
Well, everybody talks in the ring. It's just a matter of how good at it you are. And sometimes conditions matter. I can remember, I've told you guys before, wrestling Snuka, we would sit in a rest spot and have conversations, but it's because he had me in a chin lock. We've done this several times. Had me in a chin lock while I'm sitting on the mat. Well, he had that wild hair. He'd throw it right over, put his head down. They couldn't see that we were talking. All depends on
Number 10, Big Show.
They say your situations.
The world's largest athlete. Given that Show always wrestled people smaller than him, it was important for his matches to look believable. So it wouldn't be surprising if we saw the Giant instructing the other wrestler or a group of wrestlers on what to do next.
Is wearing the man down. Bubba back down. 450 pounds.
Stay is
Big Show is stunned.
That's just another I think it's more of a case of Big Show's just big boy deep voice, because stay is one of the most common refrains you'll hear. Instructions, like even when you're sending somebody into an opposite turnbuckle, stay, because that means I got a move I'm going to hit you with. You could send him into the opposite turnbuckle, take over. Send him in the opposite turnover, boot to the face. I mean, he's doing what everybody does there.
Number 9, Shawn Michaels. Before he found God,
but
Michaels
again, probably
described as a loose cannon, both inside and outside the squared circle. Shawn was well known for getting angry in his matches back in the day.
What he's doing is typical.
The staff around the ring.
Shawn Michaels, his temper obviously flaring.
But HBK could also be heard calling his...
his temper obviously flaring. Yeah, Shawn himself takes ownership of the way he used to be, so we don't need to grind him on it.
Fair share of spots as well.
Hits with the elbow. Official.
Yeah, and that's the referee is always your great go-between. And that's when you can tell when you had really great refs, when they would take the time to make sure they knew all the high spots too. Because that wasn't true with all of them. My buddy Todd used to work as Hot Bod Todd Taylor, great guy, one of the best referees I've ever been in there with. Todd knew what was going on all the time. Hell, and especially with all my concussions, it wasn't unusual for me to ask Todd what the hell I'm supposed to do next.
Imagine how just watching it doesn't.
Pose that way, hard camera. Sean's, you got to figure his ring awareness is second to none. Basically, it's just what microphones have picked up. And I'll tell you something else too. When you get to really know somebody, you can communicate almost with with expressions. I can remember one time, it was actually, it kind of amazed me. I was working with my buddy Dave, and him and I used to work each other all the time. Had complete trust in each other, so we'd do some pretty wild shit. We had a spot where I was going to swing a chair at him. He ducks. The chair hits, because he was up against the ropes, hits the ropes. I was going to spring it back and hit myself with it. Well, we had just gotten into the ring, and I knew the ring was odd. It wasn't that deep into the match. actually, I take that back. It was run-in. That's what it was. It was during a run-in. And the ropes in the indies, you never know what you're going to run into with the ring. They had no spring to them. So I hit that thing. I was waiting for the spring back, because you get a good spring back off ropes. None. I yanked it back to my head as fast as I could. I had no leverage. I was expecting to get a spring there, so I got like tapped in the head. It's like, I'm not selling this as a knockdown. That looked like dog shit. As I was Dave had been using the Michinoku driver for some time at that point. I was turning around because he had ducked and he had gone around behind me. I was going to tell him Michinoku driver. As I turned around, he said the exact same words. He goes, driver, and boom, we hit it. So we're on the exact same page. He saw the same thing. That was it just didn't work. It was,
the big
as I said, dog shit.
Anymore, and but when he did, you may have
when you got somebody that in sync with you, it's easy.
Trying to do this may have been a problem for Kane at different points in his career, though, as back when he used the voice box to speak, he would have had to make sure no one heard him calling the moves in the ring.
Oh, yeah. I never thought about that.
His voice was typically muffled, which may have made it difficult for the other wrestlers to understand him.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Randy Orton unloading on Kane.
One more. Sidewalk slam. Yeah, I mean, this is I like. Don't get me wrong. I like watching the guys work, but they're just doing what we all do.
Brock Lesnar.
It's not like they're doing anything wrong or anything.
When it comes to his promos, he does his talking in the ring, figuratively and literally, you could say, as Brock can sometimes be caught speaking to his opponent on camera.
And some guys are louder than others too.
Oh, wow.
This is slow the fuck down. Yeah. I don't think Brock, I will say this, I don't think Brock really gave a shit who heard him say that one. I'll tell you, Brock Lesnar too,
Ryback.
For the criticism he gets for being part-time and stuff, he had phenomenal ring awareness as well.
A while since we've seen Ryback in action.
I'm a big admirer of his as far as his in-ring work.
In the ring. And we're not just referring to the numerous things he would shout as a catchphrase. Ryback was also known for being vocal when communicating.
Yeah, oh man, he's making that one obvious.
Hey.
There's nothing wrong with it. Hell, he had. I mean, again, you can't help what the mics around the ring pick up. He had his face covered and everything.
Former Royal Rumble winner. Bo Dallas. Oh, big guy.
Yeah, it's fun. Like I say, it's fun listening in. But
number 5. Paige.
Typically, we wouldn't say stop me. We'd say cut me off. But
she would be
doesn't matter. It's all just
previously being forced to retire.
Verbiage.
When she does step between the ropes again, one has to wonder if Paige's spot calling will still be as noticeable as it was during her previous run.
Alicia.
See, I think
Paige, though, you can't deny how impressive she's been. Whoa! There you go. Devastating.
Sometimes I think, though, too, I think they're being a little overly critical of the workers. That their talking is going to be as noticeable as it ever was. They're doing it the right way. I mean, they're covering as best as they can.
Paige first goes Nikki Paige. Paige has an answer for everything Nikki's trying now. That's where you can't get frustrated.
Because the thing is, if there aren't if there aren't microphones everywhere, they're solid. It's not like the fans are going to hear anything.
Having wrestled nearly 2,000 matches for the company, his veteran status means he's usually the one calling the match, and this has led to Dolph regularly being heard directing traffic to his opponents.
I used to use the front suplex all the time. Always liked that move.
Can't stop now, Dolph. Can't stop now. For superstars like Dolph Ziggler. Ray stacks him up, uses the ropes.
Feels like superstars like Ziggler. Becky Lynch is caught there in the middle turnbuckle.
Oh, and he basically said as much. That's a testament to Ziggler that he was talking that much. Because he knew what he was doing. Or don't.
Number 3, Becky Lynch. Few wrestlers currently in WWE have carved out a better body of work for themselves in the past few years.
It shouldn't be I guess maybe I'm overstating this, so you guys are, I'm sure, aware. I don't like it to be seen like they're doing something sloppy or something here. All of this calling is
although she can often
exactly
be heard
how it should be.
To her opponent in the ring, this hasn't taken away from some of the great matches Becky has had.
Why would it take it away?
Nasty attitude, nasty personality.
A cheap shot. Reversal is Becky into the corner. Catches
and people are blowing up their audio too. It's not that hard to isolate that audio and accentuate it.
In the top rope there.
Becky.
Just giving her the details she needs to give her.
Number 2, Triple H. Triple H
Perfectly
has
called.
Since been described as a student of the game, wrestling a more old school style, being more inclined to call it in the ring rather than heavy plan out a match. This, especially in modern wrestling, increases the chances of the ringside cameras picking up what the wrestlers are saying to each other.
Just
and the game
nothing you can do about that.
To him more than a few times.
You know, and that's on production as well. You're aware that on those ringside cameras, they can set the audio levels up or down. Those are expensive cameras. If they feel like they're picking up too much, turn it down. And the thing of it is, when you're watching the matches on TV or anything, unless you're looking for this stuff or listening for this stuff, you're not going to hear most any of it. Every once in a while it gets obvious.
It's a complete different match.
Number 1, John Cena. Cena had to be number 1, didn't he? John is so famous for loudly calling spots in the ring that he's had his own feature on Botchamania for a number of years.
Cena digging down deep inside.
I just completely disagree with the idea that that's a botch. I mean, you have to be able to call your match. That's just how we'd call it. I would have said take over elbow. Or for that matter, just elbow. Because I'm not going to be sending an elbow to you coming in, so you just say elbow. You know, the guy going into the corner knows it's his job to hit the elbow.
And here comes Cena, and again Del Rio, German suplex. Kane is nothing but a pawn, but he's our pawn. And our plan is for you, Randy, to walk out.
Nothing wrong with this at all. This one, like I say, this I thought maybe by the title they had caught some big mistakes or something.
Cena has even publicly addressed his spot calling in the past and given quite a fair response.
I'd rather be heard saying, hit me, mother, than saying nothing and have crickets.
And that brings us
to
the end of this
100%
video.
right.
As always, if you enjoyed the video,
not only that,
like and subscribe.
I think a much even bigger point to be made to that is, if you're Cena, I'd rather be heard, and if I got to take a little criticism for it, fine, than having somebody get hurt. Because that's what the communication does for you, is it helps keep everybody safe. Yeah, I mean, this was fun. I like listening for that and everything. I enjoy it. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't think anybody should get a wrong impression and think that these guys and girls are somehow doing something wrong. They're doing their work perfectly.